Corporate and agency accountability. The implications of the death of Yu Menglong for Tianyu Media and its parent firm Mango Super Media. When a rising star dies under ambiguous circumstances, the ripple effects reach far beyond personal tragedy. The sudden and controversial death of actor Yu Menglong, affiliated with Tianyu Media, whose parent company is Mango Super Media, raises deep questions about agency practices, corporate governance, risk management, and reputational exposure in the entertainment industry. His passing, officially ruled an accidental fall while intoxicated, has nonetheless triggered intense public scrutiny, protests, stock losses, and corporate resignations. In examining this case, we must ask, what does his death tell us about the responsibilities of talent management agencies and their parent firms? How are practices, reputations, and risk profiles affected when a talent dies under ambiguous conditions? And how might intoxication, prevention measures, and corporate policy intersect in such scenarios? At the heart of the matter lies the talent agency corporate structure. Tianyu Media managed Yu Menglong's career, while Mango Super Media, a large media and entertainment group, is its parent. When Yu died on September 11th, 2025 in Beijing, after reportedly falling from a building, the authorities labeled it an accident under the influence of alcohol and ruled out criminal involvement. However, online and public sentiment diverge sharply. Fans and netizens have accused the agency and the corporate structure of negligence or worse, pointing to alleged patterns of artist deaths or disappearances under the same management network. From a corporate accountability perspective, several issues emerge. 1. Duty of care and talent welfare. Talent agencies are not merely commercial matchmakers. They carry a duty of care for their artists. That means ensuring safe working conditions, preventing harassment, providing support for mental health and substance risks, and monitoring risk-prone environments. If an artist is subject to forced drinking, risky social gatherings, or unsafe lodging, then questions arise whether the agency or parent corporate entity has systems in place to protect them. In Yu's case, while authorities cited intoxication, many observers highlight that he was reportedly in a gathering the night before his death, locked himself in a bedroom of a friend's flat, then fell from a building early the next morning. If these accounts hold, then agency oversight may have been lacking. 2. Reputation risk and investor exposure. When a talent dies under ambiguous or controversial circumstances, the reputational risk for the agency and its parent company multiplies. In this incident, Mango Super Media's stock plunged, losing over 7.67 billion renminbi, $1 billion approximately, in market value in just 2 days. Executives at both Tianyu and Mango resigned amid the backlash. These are direct material consequences. Shareholders react, investors pull back, brands reconsider endorsements, and the company's image is tarnished. The agency is suddenly not just a creative partner, but a corporate entity facing potential liability and scrutiny. 3. Pattern recognition and systemic risk. The public has pointed to alleged patterns. Other artists under Tianyu's management reportedly have died or disappeared under suspicious circumstances, some labeled as drinking and falling. Whether these claims are substantiated or not, the perception of a systemic fault can be far more damaging than individual errors. It raises questions about the agency's internal culture, risk management frameworks, oversight of social gatherings, alcohol consumption, safety of living/working quarters, and crisis response. If an agency repeatedly has high-risk incidents, then the parent firm bears systemic risk. 4. Transparency, response, and governance. In this case, the company's and authorities' responses have been criticized as opaque. The timeline of events, the guest list for the gathering, the drinking history, the safety of the premises, and the cause of fall have all been questioned. For a corporate entity, lack of transparency undermines stakeholder trust. When families, fans, investors, and the public demand clarity, the difference between "we followed all protocols" and "we have no idea what happened" is enormous. Governance structures should mandate incident reporting, internal investigations, external audits, and communications. When this is absent or inadequate, the reputational and financial shock amplifies. 5. Crisis preparedness and risk mitigation. An agency managing high-profile talent should have clear protocols in place. What happens if an artist is found intoxicated or in a high-risk social environment? What emergency response supports are available? What oversight of lodging, transportation, and nightlife is provided? How to liaise with medical/safety professionals? How to communicate with stakeholders and crisis counsel, and how to handle media. In the absence of such preparations, agencies and parent firms are exposed not only to moral failure, but also to legal and financial risk. Turning now to the role of intoxication and how it contributes to fatal accidents, and then to preventive measures, both individual and systemic. Finally, examining what policies or support structures exist or could exist for responsible consumption and safety in vulnerable situations. The role of intoxication in fatal accidents. Alcohol and other substances are frequently contributory factors in accidents, particularly when combined with high-risk settings, such as high-rise buildings, balconies, windows, parties, or late hours. Being intoxicated reduces spatial awareness, impairs judgment, slows reaction times, and increases propensity for falls or risky behavior. In Yu's case, authorities stated he was intoxicated at the time of his fall. That fact alone does not eliminate other contributing factors: environmental hazards, pressure, forced drinking, unsafe premises, but it heightens corporate liability. Was the agency aware of his condition? Was he supervised? Were safety precautions in place? What environment was he in? In entertainment industries globally, talent are often exposed to late-night gatherings, industry dinners, alcohol-fueled networking events, high-stress environments, and more. That means they are in a vulnerable category for accidents. Corporate entities need to recognize this heightened risk and adjust their practices accordingly, limiting risk exposure, ensuring safe travel/lodging, arranging sober companions, providing drop-off or escort services, and recognizing when an individual is impaired. Preventive measures, individual and systemic. At the individual level, talent management agreements should include clauses around safe consumption, understanding risks of intoxication, and having contingencies, e.g., sober driver, safe lodging. Agencies should provide education and training for talent, recognizing signs of intoxication, peer support networks, encouraging moderation, discouraging forced drinking. Having asset oversight supports that when an artist is at a social event organized by the agency or affiliated third party, there is a check-in system, e.g., bookings, guest list tracking, safe exit plan. A culture where talent feels safe to admit vulnerability, ask for support, or decline high-risk social obligations without penalty. The story of Yu Menglong's death didn't end with the coroner's report. It was only the beginning of a reckoning that swept through China's entertainment industry like a storm. When the 36-year-old actor, known for his gentle charisma and rising star power, fell to his death after what authorities called a night of heavy drinking, fans refused to accept silence. They demanded answers from Tianyu Media, his agency, and Mango Super Media, the corporate titan that owns it. What began as grief quickly evolved into outrage, and soon into one of the most damaging corporate crises in recent Chinese entertainment history. This continuation dives deeper into the first part's central themes: corporate negligence, talent welfare, and systemic risk, but with sharper detail and emotion, showing how a single tragedy exposed the frail scaffolding of power, image, and responsibility within a multi-billion yuan industry. The night that changed everything. Imagine the scene: a quiet Beijing apartment, pale dawn light spilling over the skyline. Neighbors wake to the sound of emergency sirens. Within hours, social media lights up with one sentence: actor Yu Menglong found dead after a fall. The police statement that followed was brief, too brief. Accidental death, alcohol involvement, no criminal activity. But the public wasn't satisfied. Fans recalled that you had posted hours before, a cheerful, almost reflective message. Friends hinted he had been at a small gathering, drinking, but in good spirits. Then, just hours later, he was gone. For many, the puzzle pieces didn't fit. The more they searched, the more they uncovered questions that Tianyu Media and Mango Super Media seemed unwilling or unable to answer. Was he pressured to drink? Who organized the event? Why were there no security checks, no supervision, no witness statements released? And most importantly, where was his agency's protection when he needed it most? The business of control and image. Tianyu Media isn't just any agency. It's one of the most prominent talent management firms in China, handling some of the country's biggest television and film stars. Backed by Mango Super Media, a state-linked conglomerate with ties to Hunan Broadcasting, it thrives on image perfection. Artists under its wing are branded, styled, and marketed like luxury products, each move carefully curated to appeal to fans and advertisers. But that same control can become a cage. Former staffers, speaking anonymously online, described a culture of unrelenting pressure, where artists were told what to post, what to wear, and how to behave, even off camera. Behind the glamour, long filming hours, tight contracts, and enforced attendance at industry gatherings were common. Alcohol, insiders said, flowed freely at such events, part of the unspoken ritual of building relationships. If the reports are true, then Yu's final night wasn't merely personal, it was occupational. It happened within a system that normalized overwork and blurred the line between professional obligation and social compulsion. That is where corporate accountability begins, not at the moment of tragedy, but in the daily structures that make such tragedies possible. When silence becomes complicity. In the hours after Yu's death, fans waited for Tianyu Media's official statement. It took nearly a full day. When it came, it was formulaic, an expression of grief, a request for privacy, and a vague reference to cooperation with authorities. Mango Super Media followed with its own carefully worded release, stressing compliance with law enforcement. Neither addressed the elephant in the room, the conditions leading to his death, or the company's duty of care. That silence was deafening. Soon, social media hashtags like #JusticeForYuMenglong and #MangoAccountability trended across Weibo and Douyin. Netizens pieced together fragments, screenshots of deleted posts, photos of Yu's last appearance, rumors about previous artist deaths under similar agencies. The narrative spread faster than the companies could control it. Within 2 days, Mango Super Media's stock value plunged by billions. Advertisers quietly suspended partnerships. Executives resigned for personal reasons. Fans gathered outside Tianyu's offices, holding posters of Yu's smiling face beside candles and handwritten signs. You said you'd protect him. Where were you? A crisis in the boardroom. Inside Mango Super Media's headquarters, sources claimed the atmosphere was tense. The board convened emergency meetings to discuss investor backlash and potential government inquiries. Internal memos, leaked to the press, revealed a scramble to contain reputational fallout. The irony was sharp. A company that built its empire on managing public image now found itself unable to manage its own. This is the modern paradox of corporate entertainment. The same mechanisms that manufacture celebrity can destroy a corporation overnight when those stars die under suspicious circumstances. Mango Super Media's failure wasn't just moral, it was structural. No crisis response protocol appeared to exist for talent deaths. No independent welfare oversight. No hotline for artists in distress. Even basic PR strategy faltered. Statements were inconsistent, tone-deaf, and reactive. Investors began questioning deeper issues. Did Mango enforce safety policies across its subsidiaries? Were its agency partners audited for compliance with labor and safety standards? The answers, or lack thereof, pointed to systemic negligence, patterns of neglect. Then came a chilling wave of déjà vu. Online users unearthed reports of at least 3 other Tianyu-affiliated artists who had died or vanished under equally murky conditions in the last 5 years. Each case was quietly handled, brushed off as accidental. Some involved intoxication, others unexpected illness. The public started to see not coincidence, but a pattern. Whether or not those claims withstand scrutiny, the perception alone was enough to brand Tianyu and Mango as unsafe. In reputation management, perception is reality. Once the public associates your brand with cover-ups and tragedy, rebuilding trust becomes almost impossible. The human cost behind the contracts. Yu Menglong was more than a marketable face. He was a son, a colleague, and a human being whose life was woven into the machinery of fame. The people who worked with him described a man who rarely complained, who pushed himself to meet every expectation. His exhaustion, they said, was visible but unspoken. In the weeks before his death, he had filmed late into the night for a drama project reportedly tied to Mango's streaming platform. He was seen at several promotional events, smiling but tired. Behind that smile was a man caught in a system that offered applause but little compassion. If Tianyu Media had stronger welfare structures, mental health check-ins, responsible drinking policies, safety training, or even simple human oversight, you might have survived that night. The absence of those measures turned corporate indifference into tragedy, reform or reputation ruin. The aftermath forced the companies to act. Tianyu announced the creation of a talent care division. Mango Supermedia promised enhanced safety and wellness standards. But for many, the promises came too late. The damage was already done.